So first of all, basic is we start on a weekly, right? And then it's pretty easy to see what is happening here, okay? So step number one, when we analyze a complete new chart, if it's Forex, if it's crypto, maybe on Forex you start on a daily because the market has more history and stuff, but I would always start on a weekly. And then we identify the bottom and we identify the top, right? As you can see here, low is 63, high is 109,000, okay? And now if you are already a little bit more advanced in the NXT system, you start to instantly see sequences all over the place, right? Here, 0, a B correction, C target, a whole correction level, activation, all these kind of things, right? But we obviously start with the basics, and what we're going to do is we're going to put our FIB extension tool on the lowest point here, and then we're going to drive it to the first high, to the first correction, and then we start with the very first sequence, and we'll put it here. Okay, we hit C target over here. We will put the sequence over here. Okay, so that's our very first sequence in Bitcoin. Okay, perfect. So now we need to do the whole correction level. So we start again at 0 and we go to where it corrected, right? Or basically to the highest point again, and then where it corrected. And now you need to be very careful because I see many people doing this mistake where they would maybe drive the 50% correction level or the FIB tool up here, right? But you need to be a little bit aware where do we have stronger corrections, right? Because here we don't have any corrections, no corrections. We hit C target, we continue to go high, and then we see the first correction. And then we go high, and then we go high, and then we see the second correction, right? So don't make the mistake to put it here and say, oh, yeah, here's the re-entry. No, because you had before that, right, a beautiful re-entry here. What sometimes helps is to just use here the drawing tool and just like follow these lines and kind of draw them a little bit, right? So I would just like fluently just like continue to draw them. I would say, oh, okay, down, and then high, and then we come back down, we correct. Then we have a little bit of a downside and sideways trend here, and then we go up, and then correction up, and now we are here, right? So it helps sometimes to remember a little bit the price action. And what you can also do is you can just drive it or like move it over here and see, okay, perfect. So started at 0 first, here BC correction, we activated the sequence, C target will see big correction, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it there, and then we're gonna obviously draw out the BC correction over here, or sorry, the whole correction level in that sense, okay? And then we see here then we see here the new sequence, obviously. So the secondary sequence resulting of the first one, right, is always 0. Then we have highest point, right? C target in that sense. That results as C targets because it's the highest point before we had a major correction. And then we put it not here, right? Or we could put it here, but then you see we went up again and we came down and we opened a new, and that's the lowest level. That's another very big mistake just in general that people do, is that you need to take from 0, if this is 0, you need to take the lowest point in the correction, not the second lowest or the first, like not this one, right? Not this one, but this one. This is the lowest point, okay? If we would have another low point, then we take this one, okay? Always be aware from 0 to lowest correction point that obviously needs to be higher. So this here needs to be higher than 0, obviously, okay? So just to keep aware so you don't make mistakes, okay, or be aware to not make mistakes in that sense. So we're gonna go again. FIB extension makes no sense, right? Because why? This is the highest point before we had a major correction. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna put C target. We put the sequence 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna change the color to, let's say, orange, just so we always have different colors so we don't get confused, right? Very important. So now we would put, okay, orange color. Okay, now obviously for you guys, okay, what are we gonna trade right now? So now, because now we are coming to the current state of the market, what are we looking for here right now? Okay, so we have a first sequence black, sequence number 1 is finished. We came back into a correction, into a BC whole correction level of the first sequence, right? we activated that sequence, as everyone can see quite clearly. We activated it, right? And now we are basically here. So what do we trade? Do we trade whole correction level? Do we trade BC? Why do we trade BC? Why not whole correction level? What are we waiting for? Maybe you guys can unmute yourself and give some input what you would do right now. Because we have a clear target for Bitcoin, which is $127,000 per Bitcoin, right? We have an active bullish sequence. So what can we do right now? What should we look for? Are you guys muted or can you unmute yourself? I'm not sure. Anyone wants to be unmuted, just type into the chat or type the answer. Okay, so Tina's saying BC, but why BC? Just want you guys to understand why we're using BC. Why not whole correction level?
The market hasn't hit the sequence target yet of the orange sequence.
Correct. And we have a enough far activation from high or from A to where we are currently, right? Because in the NXT system, what we are doing is that if we, for example, would see something like this here, so this is A, and then price goes to here and starts to correct, we would rather take the whole correction level because the activation is it's not a strong activation, you know. I'm not saying it automatically means we're going to use whole correction level, but most of the times we would rather take the whole correction level. But now we have a very clear activation of the sequence and a clear high, right? So in general, obviously, without what I just added to say, it's always BC because we activated and we are not hitting C target yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take obviously B point, then highest point in between B and C, and then we're going to mark down our entry zone, which basically is starting here at 62,000 US dollars per BTC. Okay. So if you pause for a second and you look at that, doesn't it look like a complete normal, healthy market? And it's doing what it should do, exactly what it should do? I think so. So everyone that is panicking about Bitcoin is like, what the fuck is wrong? It makes complete sense what it's doing. It's beautiful, it's perfect. Why? Because now if we go more deeper and we use a little bit of price action, do you see the big stability that we have here? Right? And with stability, I mean this. This is stability. This is like a fundament. It's building stability. It's a sideways trend, but a strong one. It's stability, right? Like how in the NXT system, it's always explained we need strong stability to then build a house on top and strong pillars, right? And then we build the house on top. Beautiful house. But yeah, I think you guys know what I mean. Okay, so we have a strong sideways trend. And what is the result? Someone maybe already knows that. What does markets tend to do after they correct very strong? There's mostly always one answer only. After markets correct, build a lot of fundament, go sideways for a long time, what do they tend to do afterwards? And you can see it here. I'm just going to mark it out. You can see it here. Keep in mind where C target is and look where it stopped. So if we have a lot of stability, what does it mean most of the times? What is the result of a lot of stability? It breaks out big. That's smart. Yeah, it's good to say, but there's a better way how to describe it. It's yeah, impulsive, very impulsive. Yeah, it's not a correctional move because we already corrected a lot. So it's more like an impulsive is an A. So it's EKI, right? Because we have here a E, we have a E, we have a K, and we have an I, right? In that sense. So we have impulsive, correction, impulsive in that sense. But I'm still waiting for the answer. It overcorrects. Perfect. That's what I want to hear, right? It overextends, not corrects, because it's not correcting down or anyway, it's overextending the C target. So you will see many times everywhere that the more we have stability, the more we'll overcorrect. Now, why am I asking you this? Because if you look at the current chart, isn't it perfect that we are coming back to grab more liquidity, right, in this zone to then go see target, especially because we might need this because look at this stability phase. So if this is stability phase one and this is stability phase two, what does it tell us about the future outcome most likely on BTC? Who can put it together? If you compare stability in one, stability in two, in one it overextended. We didn't need, you see this run, we didn't really have any corrections. It just like went completely wild. We had a small one here, but we had just one leg up basically. So if I take this out, if I take this out, this is leg up one, right? In that sense, it's just that basically we had stability here, right? So to go back here, we had stability here, just stable, right? Okay, just stable. And then we have impulsive, small correction, C target overextends due to the stability. If we go into this one here, as you can see, we have very low stability, right? It's not as strong as before. And then we have a push up, correction, push up, correction. And then most likely we need to build up a little bit more stability to go see target. So most likely we have confirmation that the market is likely going to reach sequence target and overextend. Would you say that with the second stability that we have, that we will overextend or not? And is it good that we are seeing this correction in BTC like we are seeing it now, this one here, or should it hit C target before? Is it good that we are seeing the market going up, correcting, or should have had hit directly C target? So we have to ask ourselves the question right now because we're gonna go deeper into it and analyze what we should do right now. But before we do that, we want to know, is the market doing what it should do, or is it atypical? And therefore, if it's atypical, we will not trade it. It's good for it to hit the correction level because it shows good market structure. Yes, but why? Why is it good? Would have would have hit if you okay, I'll explain it. Here we have a lot of stability. My expectation, if we have such strong stability, is a very strong impulsive overcorrection or overextension. Does that make sense? Does it make sense if I say market is building a very strong stability? Why the hell is my okay? Building a lot of stability. What is happening with my drawing tool? Okay. Does it make sense to say we have a lot of stability, therefore we are waiting for an impulsive breakout and overextension? Okay, that makes sense. More stability means more impulsive, especially overextending markets. We see this here. It's a proof. Now, let's go into theory number two. Market comes down and corrects, and it overcorrects. As you can see, this is the buying zone, and we are overcorrecting. We went below that. Then we had very short stability compared to this. Here we have starting from 2025 December until 2026 October. Okay. Here we have 2022 April until 2023 October. Okay. So here we have a shorter stability in that sense, less stability. Therefore, we have stability, but not as much as here. So we have an impulsive up. We have a small correction as we had here. Then we push up again, but it was not enough to hit C target because we had too little stability. Therefore, the market is correcting to grab more liquidity because we didn't have so much stability over here. So most likely Bitcoin will not overextend this C target, but hit it and then come back into a correction. That's my expectation because of the stability. So what Bitcoin is doing right now is exactly what it needs to do. What I would not like to see is if we would have this stability also here, right? If we would have the same stability, strong sideways, not such quick stability, like really going more sideways here for a longer time, then really breaking out. I would have liked to see it hit C target. It makes no sense because we have enough stability. Or if this one here would be more stability. So if this one would have continued a little bit more like this, then I want to see it hit C target directly and then come back, but not hit the stability phase and then just go here and start to correct again. That's not good. That's too much bearish pressure. Can you guys follow me a little bit? I hope it's not too complicated. But I want to go with you not only into the sequences, but understanding if what it's actually doing is good or bad. And it's perfect. It's perfect. So if we know now it's perfect, we can go into lower time frames and start to find a trade and source a trade because now we know overall we are bullish. We know we are approaching a re-entry zone, right? As you can see over here, we are approaching a BC. Okay, now let's go into Bitcoin right away, and we need to also analyze the contrarian movements, which is we have a high point, we have a all-time high in that sense, and from this all-time high we have bearish sequences, right? So if we say this is our all-time high, we need to start to analyze our bearish sequences and say, okay, here we start. We have the first low over here. We have the first correction over here, and then we hit C target over there. So let me just zoom into it a little bit. Sometimes it's pretty dumb that I have only black candles, but I feel more comfortable not seeing red and green candles. It doesn't impact me that much. It's more neutral if I have only black. So we have the high, and that's the lowest point of correction is this one. Okay. So this will be our first bearish sequence. Here, 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 we're gonna use red. Can you guys follow me with the bearish sequence? We start at the top. And then obviously we hit C target for this bearish red sequence. And then we need to think about the whole correction level to start the second sequence. And now you will see we have a perfect re-entry over here. Okay, we need to change the color one more time. Let's take yellow. No, yellow makes no sense. Let's take blue. So now we are resulting into a secondary sequence. We take A point, we take C target, we take correction, and then we need to put in this bearish C target that we haven't quite finished yet. Nearly, as you can see. Okay, so let's put it in here. 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense? Oh, not Arabic. Wait, ABC. Okay. So what do we do now, guys? What are we looking for here? What is the next step now? To sum it up again, we are in a bullish sequence. It's activated. It's doing exactly what we want. Our expectation is perfect. We are on a bearish move, resulting into a correction level. What are we doing? Come on, guys, you know what to do. What's the next step? Okay, now we're looking for the whole correction level. Why the whole correction level and not YBC? Some people might not understand the difference right now. Why are we trading the whole correction level and not the BC? Because it hit target. Yeah, I mean it did not, but it did, right? If it's so close to hit target, then we say it's a finished sequence, right? So it's very close. So you can say it's a hit target, right? Market is not perfect, but we consider it perfectly set, Brady. We consider it as done. Okay. So seeing this, now many people get completely confused. We have a bullish sequence that is activated in a bearish sequence that has a whole correction level. We are very close to the whole correction level. The BC orange of our bullish, we have a bearish secondary sequence finished. We have a re-entry sell for the whole correction level. What do we do now? That's where many people get confused. Oh, we have bullish, bearish moves. What do we do? Because if we would go now into a lower time frame, 30 minutes, we can start to analyze this sequence over here too. All right, this one over here. And say, okay, this one is also finished. And then from here, right, we basically have no re-entry so far. So I'm currently trading this one or taking this one into consideration. Why am I using not this one, but this one to trade? Because this one is a better, I'm not really trading it. It's more like to tell me the direction, okay? Because it's being very weird right now that we have zero corrections back. But we have talked about it in my analysis, why we are using this sequence to identify something here. So it gives us more input on what we should do right now. But if you see this, what should we do right now? We need to ask ourselves the question, first of all, why did we not go to the normal BC correction? Right? Why did we not finish this so far? And is that good or is that bad? Because as you can see here, we are correcting, we have a bearish sequence, but it's finishing before the BC, right? And we still have 50% to finish this. Why is this happening? And then second of all, we have an early bullish reaction where a sequence leads us, it's not a perfect sequence, it's more like a directional sequence, leading us into a re-entry sell. What would be the game plan? I think the game plan is I still want the market to come to this point here. I would love the market to come here, so therefore we have enough stability to then finish the target over here. But the most logical thing how this is going to happen is like this, right? Because we have C target leads into a bearish sequence and then triggers us to go down and finally finish the sequence. Is that going to be 100%? No, it could also happen like this. Right? These are the two scenarios right now. Number one, number two. Now fundamentally adding, I think number two is more likely than number one because of what is happening with Trump, the recession, the tariffs, blah, 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 the wars and stuff like that. I don't see it right now. But it could still happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. These are the two scenarios we need to be careful for. So then you will understand right now there's nothing really to do in Bitcoin. We're just waiting. We are waiting for it either to come to these turning points because right now, as you can see, we are in a sideways trend, which is building up stability. Question is just stability for what? To correct lower or to go high and finish the targets? Could we go finish the target? Yes, we could go from now on and finish the target at 127K. Is it what we expect? Not really, no. We would like for it to come back to this zone over here and finish the sequence. But one thing we need to ask ourselves is something that is very bullish. What is a very bullish sign? And I will make it easy, and that's gonna be the last question. What is a very bullish sign here that Bitcoin reacted at a certain FIB level and not the 0.5? And why is that very bullish? If we say we would like to see the correction from here go to the 50%, build up a little bit stability, and then hit C target, and it didn't do it, we need to ask ourselves the question, why did it correct from here to this Fibonacci level, 0.38, and now is starting to be bullish again? What does that mean? It's an early reaction, an early bullish reaction. But what does it mean? Is it good or is it bad? What does it indicate? What does it indicate if we react early? It's clearly said in the NXT system what it means and what what it means if it reacts at the 0.382 FIB. Why it did not come here down. Okay, the bulls, that's very good. It's a trend continuation confirmation. It's a very strong trend continuation confirmation. So if you see why I'm taking this out for you is because all in all, we need to decide how do we see the market? Do we see it? Is it a good setup? Is it doing what it should do or not? And I think it should maybe. So here's the psychology. What I would like to see is that due to low stability, I would like it to correct here, build stability, so that would be healthy, right? But it reacting here at the 0.38 shows me we have a lot of bullish buy pressure, which then is also very positive for the market because we are just continuing the trend. We are not coming down to correct. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's a pretty positive sign, actually. It's a very strong bullish case for us because we are not, so far, we are not correcting. And we need to see how it goes from here. This is going to be a very, very important point. This is going to be like, are we breaking this? And then, my boy, we will try buy here and just like go to 127K. A clear case. Are we struggling here and we're coming down, we're building bearish sequences, 100% we're going to go to the 62. But it looks more like we're going to come here, like start to build some weird things, break probably through it and go to 127K. Does that make sense with the current economy? Not really, but also yes. Because while everything is going to shit, we see Bitcoin doing something amazing that no one is really seeing. And no one can understand that because their systems are too weak, way too weak. And one of the main indicators here, how healthy the Bitcoin chart actually is and how insanely bullish, is that it's actually reacting at the 0.82%, even though we have an economical crisis and tariffs and everything is going to shit. That's insanely bullish for Bitcoin. Does that mean I'm gonna trade something right now? Not really. I don't see any reason to trade right now because we are in the middle of the move. But one more time, that we are reacting here to 0.82 is an insane bullish sign because it's a trend continuation. And we never had that. I'm pretty sure we never had that. I cannot see it anywhere here that we ever had that. Why the hell is actually this thing not adjusting to my... Oh, we did a mistake, huh? Here, come down, correction, and then here. Yeah. Oh, okay, perfect. I don't see, maybe here I can give you an example. Here we probably have it too. I think we have it here because if you go here, you see a 50% correction. Ah, we have it here. We have it here. Look at this, guys. It's a perfect example. So we have a low, first high A, we correct BC, activate sequence, hit C target, for example, come back, react on the 0.82, go high, come back to the 0.82, and then start a massive run. You see this? Very bullish, very, very bullish. We did not come back into this target here, into the re-entry. It's a perfect example. That's exactly what I'm saying. Wild, huh? So I think this is a perfect case study and a perfect example of what is happening right now. And we had it once in the past too. One more time, we have the low A, we correct perfectly into 50%, activate, C target, come back. Sister calling me. Coming back, right? And then 50%, we come into the 50% correction, or not really, like we're not touching it, right? We're not coming into the 50% correction, but we are continuously, and I will zoom in a little bit more, maybe it's easier to see because I have a big screen, but for some others, maybe it's more difficult. But you can see it here. Okay, so let's put this over here, perfectly adjusting it. Okay, and one thing you see is this here. This is crazy. Okay, so we are basically seeing the same thing. Basically seeing the same thing over here, which is this here. Okay, same scenario. So either something like this or something like this or something like this. These are the three main outcomes right now for Bitcoin. Number one is the world changes tomorrow and everything is so positive and we start a massive bull run. All tariffs are canceled, more money is going to be printed, then we go to 127K. Second scenario is we come back, retest the 0.8 trend continuation, and from there on start a massive run. That would be a shortened recession, means Trump in the next couple of weeks, everything switches and we just pump a lot of money. Not right now, but in the next couple of months. And the third scenario is for me the most likely one is we're going to go to shit a little bit now, come into the 50% correction, regain the normal move of Bitcoin like how it should be, and then go hit 50%. You know? And that's like maybe like now summing it up, because I think time is over and I also don't want to stretch it more. We already did stretch by 10 minutes. But now you see a little bit more than just sequences. You see what it means, what we expect, and there's so much more to learn in the NXT system, right? Slash SK system in that sense. Not just a sequence. It's like all these small little details. What happened in the past? What did we expect? Or what do we expect? How did it react? Is it replicating itself? And most of the times it replicates itself many, many times, right? So if someone looks at this, you can confidently say what Bitcoin doing is perfect. It is perfect. It's exactly how it should be. Okay. And same goes for everything else, you know, but very basic. Now, meaning and coming to a conclusion, you don't need to trade this if you feel uncomfortable. But if you see this now and you have this analysis, you can say, okay, I know where to start buying if I have some money. I can start buying here. I can start buying here if we come here. I can start buying here. I can start buying here, DCAing just every week once we come to these levels, right? And then you will have a perfect entry somewhere over here to this point. Let's say you start at the highest point here, it's still 70%, you know? And that's basically how you do it. And if you want actually to trade, you can start to trade and start sequences over here. But for that, you need to wait for internal sequences because it's just like too big.